أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم كمثل الشيطان إذ قال للإنسان اكفر فلما كفر قال إني بريء منك إني أخاف الله رب العالمين صدق الله العظيم. My dear brothers, in the Surat Al-ख़ashr, Allah in the 16th ayah is saying that like Satan, Shaitan, when he says to a man, disbelieve in Allah, but when the man disbelieves in Allah, Satan says, I am disassociated from you, I fear Allah, the Lord of the Alameen, the Lord of the world, the world of the everything created. Now, Allah Jalla Jalaluhu is giving us a clue of what the purpose of Shaitan is. What is the purpose of Shaitan? Is to get somebody to say, I disbelieve in Allah. That's the ultimate goal. Right? Because there's two sides. Hizbullah, the party of Allah, and Hizbul Shaitan, the group of Shaitan. So, Shaitan works with each individual who has faith to take their faith from them over time. So, let's look at an example. Bani Israel, children of Israel, there was a man called Barsisa. He was Ehli Ibadah. He was a man of worship. Okay? He was Zahid. Zahid means somebody who withdraws from the world, worldly things, and he dedicates himself to worship of Allah. So he stays away from the world, and then he stays away from the people, and he dedicates himself to Allah. But he had a gift from Allah. What he did is that when somebody is sick, he takes a glass of water and he makes dua to it, and he blows into it, and he sends it to a person drinks it, and it heals. Person gets healed. Of course, with the permission of Allah. But he had that gift. So what happened is that he became famous in that land. Because when somebody is sick, they would come and tell him, or they would bring the patient to him. He would do that, and they would drink the water, the person would heal. How nice. So, over time, the doctors became, they lost their job. They didn't have any need for them anymore. So what happened is that Shaitan, cursed Shaitan, right? He's always in ambush, waiting. He's always in ambush, especially somebody who is doing good work that is impressing the people and turning them towards Allah. What was he doing? He's seeing this person called Barsisa, and he was chewing the iron. He was that envious. What is an envy? Somebody has something, you don't. You want that. So he was envious, he was jealous of this person that was impressing everybody, turning them towards Allah and Ibadah. And Shaitan was pacing back and forth, back and forth. He couldn't figure out what to do. He was going back and forth. One night, he gathered his children, his sons. He gathered all his children and he said, is there anybody among you that will relieve me of my stress? I'm stressed out. there's this guy doing this, impressing everybody. They're not following us anymore. What are we going to do? One of his sons, he said, I'm going to take that job. I'm going to take that stress off of you. I will take care of it. And he bragged about it. Look what I'm going to do. So what does he do? He gets the advice of his intelligence. Shaitan is very intelligent. We have to realize that. Shaitan is very intelligent in the other way, the wrong way. So when he was thinking, the Shaitan was thinking, what was he thinking? He was saying that there's nothing that can deviate a person better than a young woman. That's what the Shaitan was thinking. Why? Because if somebody has inclination towards gold, when somebody has inclination towards food or wealth, okay, it's a one-sided deal. If you love gold, gold doesn't love you. Gold doesn't come to you. You have to love gold, but it's a one-sided street. But a girl is two-way. If you have a wall, if you start to peck at it from one side, it takes you a long time. But if the other person is pecking at it both sides, then you can break the wall faster. So when you're in love with a girl is in love with you, and you can break that wall faster because as you desire her, she desires you back. It's both ways. But we need to remember that in these situations, when man and a woman are together in a social setting, they have a veil between them. Why? Because they have fear. Fear of people seeing them. People seeing them. Because if they're seen doing something to each other, talking or having like a friendly conversation, people will condemn them. Hey, look, this is a pious person talking to this lady in front of people. So there's fear of veil. So if there's a thief wants to enter a house and steal something, if you have somebody inside helping you, you get in faster. So that's what the son of the Shaitan was thinking, that took this job of taking care of this person, which is Ahli Ibadah. He stays away from worldly things, everything. So that's what he was thinking in his mind. Okay, what would be my approach to deviate this person from what he's doing? So what did he do? This Shaitan, now he starts to work. What is he doing? He's going through the whole world, house by house, trying to find this ideal candidate, this girl that is attractive, this girl that is charming, right? You know, you have to find that kind of a girl. You can't just find an ugly girl for this guy to be tempted with. You have to find somebody who's like maybe wealthy, maybe like very attractive. She takes care of herself. So Shaitan, he's trying to do matchmaking now for this Basir. Matchmaking. But he has this ugly, dark face because his goal is completely wrong. But he looked for a long time and he found the person. So whoever looks for something, they will eventually find it, right? But if you're a hunter, if you go for a boar hunting, right? You get tired, your horse gets tired trying to catch or kill a boar. But when you kill a boar, when you kill a pig, what are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with a boar? You can't eat it. You can't skin it and use the skin for anything. You can't use its horns for anything. So all that time and effort you spend trying to kill a boar. In the meantime, you might see a deer, you might see a turkey, you might try to go that way, but no, you're focused on that boar. You're focused on that pig. That's what you're trying to look for. But let's think a smart person. A smart person would always be careful about what they're searching for, what they're hunting for. If they don't pay attention to that, what happens when you catch your hunt? When you hunt something, when you search for something and you found it, you won't be embarrassed. What are you going to do with the pig? You can't bring it to somebody and say, look what I hunted. You can't eat it, you can't do anything with it. You're ashamed of it. So look for something that when you find what you're looking for, it will make you happy. It will fulfill you. It will make your heart at ease. So you don't waste your arrows for something which is not worth even hunting for. Shaitan, what does he hunt for? He hunts for something to degrade a person. Hunts for something, a weak point of a person that he can explore, so that person will not be pious anymore. So you are all in danger. Be reminded, if you start doing any kind of ibadah without knowledge of our deen, be careful. Shaitan will target you immediately, every step of the way. You have to increase your knowledge of our deen. You have to. It needs to come with your worship. Worship and knowledge has to go hand in hand, walk together. And let's see what happens if they don't walk together. There's a method, like an example. Allah Jalla Jalaluhu gives the best examples, gives the best situations for us to understand. Do you remember the Sulaiman alayhi salam and the queen of Sheba? She was the queen of an area, land, that people would follow her, but she would lead them the wrong way. When Sulaiman alayhi salam heard about that, what did he do? He wrote a letter and he put Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. That's how he started his letter. And then he took a bird and said, bring this to Queen of Sheba. The bird went there, and then she's in a castle, she's in a fortress. Of course, there's people around, guards and everything. And bird perched on a balcony waiting for her. Then he realized that she was sleeping. He went inside and he put the letter on her bed, and the bird started to peck on her heart and really hurt her. When she woke up, she started wondering, what is happening, A bird is pecking at my heart and it's really hurting me. And then she saw the letter. And she couldn't figure out, where did this letter come from? Then she realized the bird brought the letter. And then she opened the letter and she looked and she read the first word, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. That bee solved all these questions in her mind. All the whispering of the shaitan that has been given her to do the wrong thing, lead the people the wrong way. That bab in the beginning of Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. At that point, the hawk of Iman caught its prey, gained her heart, captured her heart. So what a great example that Allah Jalla Jalaluhu, which Sulaiman alayhi salam in this example, is sending a message to every person's heart. How? With their intelligence, with that bird. Bird is the intelligence. Every breath a person takes, that bird, that intelligence, the aql, gives thoughts into the heart, the castle. And all those thoughts, if a person pays attention and takes the time to use their intelligence and think, what happens? Allah gives iman to that heart, gives faith to that heart. People who listen to their intelligence, Allah sends it iman to their heart. So let's get back to our story. All right. So Shaitan was looking for, okay, let's start over again. There's this Beni Israel times, there's this person who does a lot of worship all the time. And then Allah gave him a unique gift that he can make dua to water, and whoever drinks from that water gets healed. And now Shaitan sees that chewing iron, being envious of that person, and tries to now deviate that person. And then assigns one of his sons to do the job. And he goes around the world and finds the daughter of the Sultan. She is very pretty, very attractive, very smart, beautiful, okay? So he got into his mind, the Shaitan, and now she started to get sick. They couldn't cure it. Sultan called all the hikmah, the wise people and the doctors, everything, they couldn't cure it. And Shaitan got into a clothes of a believing person, went to the Sultan and said, there is this person, he cures people, he heals people, why don't you take her to him? So that's what they did, and then he made dua, and then she drank the water, and then Shaitan left her. But the story continues. Then a few months later, he did the same thing to her again. Got into her mind, and she started to get sick. And this time, they couldn't cure her again, and then Shaitan came back to the Sultan, because the first time gained his confidence. Gained his confidence. What? He gave advice. Take your daughter to the person and he will heal her. Yes, that's what happened. Shaitan gained the confidence. What's the next step? He said, now take her to him again. But this time, have her stay there. And of course, Sultan didn't have any other choice. He agreed with him. So he sent his daughter to this Ahli Ibadah, Zahid person. So now they got in to the house together. People left. So they told him that before they left, they said, she's going to stay with you. You need to take care of her. You need to heal her. When she is healed, just tell us, we'll come back. So if that Zahid, that person that does ibadah all the time, had knowledge, he would never agree for her to stay with him. Why? Why? Because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is saying that when a woman stays alone in a area, a man and a woman stays in an area together, okay? The third person becomes, their companion is Shaitan. The third person. Why are we saying that? These days, as you live and work, it is very easy to stay alone with another woman. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is warning us that in a woman and a man, when they get together in a room, their third is shaitan. So he didn't know that. So he accepted this girl to stay with him. So what happened is that over time, they started having closeness, and then she got pregnant. The Sultan's daughter got pregnant. So now he started to think, oh no, what do I do? And in that thought, Shaitan came as a pious person and said, what are you thinking about? Why are you so stressed out? He said, this is what happened. This, and now she's pregnant. And he gave her an advice. He said, you do have one choice. He said, you kill her, you bury her, tell them that she got sick and died, and you buried her. So that's what he did. And then Shaitan went to the Sultan and said, look, your daughter is healed. Why don't you go get her? And they went to get her, but this time they got the news that she was dead and she was buried. She was buried. So they went back. And they were saddened, sorrow, because he lost his daughter. And then Shaitan came in a different shape. And we know that Shaitan can come as a human form. We know that. Allah Jalla Jalaluhu sent Shaitan to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and said, look, answer all their questions correctly. So we know that Shaitan can come in a form of a human being. So he went to the Sultan and said, look, what happened to your daughter? He said, well, my daughter went there and then, she had a sickness and she died. He said, no, he's lying. He killed her. He got her pregnant and then he killed her and buried her exactly this place. And now the Sultan was stressed out. He didn't know what to do because he believed the other person that came and told him that, his daughter was going to be healed, everything. This time, he had that doubt. So he gathered his people, went to this pious person, and he said, what did you do to my daughter? He said, your daughter died. He said, no, I don't believe you. And he started now pacing back and forth. He got stressed out. He started saying things to him. He said, no, go and dig it up. So they dug out her body and they realized that she was killed. She was pregnant. And now they caught this pious person. This is where it gets really difficult. They put a rope around his neck. They tied his hands. So, Barsisa, his name, and he was talking to himself, okay? He is talking to himself, and he is saying that, you despicable nafs, to himself. You were so happy, you were making dua and people were being healed. You were so happy when that happened. When people praised you, you were so happy, you were so satisfied with their praises. And he's talking to himself, he's continuing. And in the eyes of people, you were so elevated. Everybody spoke highly of you. But in reality, all these were scorpions and snakes. All the people's liking of you were scorpions and snakes. He was saying, but it didn't help. So what happened is that they brought him to the gallows. Gallows is where they execute people, hang him. So they put the ladder, and then they put the goose around his neck. And now, Shaitan came back. Shaitan came back to him as a person again. He said, do you realize I've done all this to you? He admitted, I've done all this to you. I've done it to you. Now, but I still have power, I can save you. If you do sajda to me, I will save you from the situation. Now, the pious person was so scared that he was going to die. He said, well, I will do sajda to you, but I have this rope around my neck. I can't do sajda to you. But he said, okay, for an intelligent person, if you just indicate that you will do sajda to me, it's good enough for me. So what did he do? He did the indication with his head that he's going to do sajda to shaitan. Now what happens let's go back to our ayah. In the Surat Al-ख़ashr, Allah is saying that, like Satan, when he says to a man, disbelieve in Allah, but when man disbelieves in Allah, Satan says, I am disassociated from you. I have nothing to do with you. Why? Because I fear Allah, Rabbil Alameen. Even Satan fears Allah. Even Satan fears Allah.